This is a prototype of the Arcade Mini Console Plus. In this deceivingly simple looking black box is a versatile gaming device that connects retro gamepads and controllers to a huge variety of computers and consoles using plug and play detection. You can plug in an output cable, plug in an input controller and play games with a huge variety of devices and controllers without needing to reprogram it. If you play retro games on a computer, you can use it like this. We have a 15-pin connector for inputs. This allows for a wide variety of classic console inputs. We can plug in an adapter cable and the device will automatically sense what kind of controller is plugged in without any configuration. Here's a cable we made for NES. This is just a selection of cables. There's many more compatible controllers. We have here a USB connector to allow outputs to computers, PlayStation 3, the original Xbox and Wii U. We have an RJ45 connector to allow outputs to PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, Wii and Wii U via Wiimote, and many other systems. We have an output expansion board that allows output to classic consoles like NES, SNES, Sega Mega Drive, Atari 2600 and many others. We will detail this in a separate video. Someday, you may want to change the default gamepad mappings used by the device. If you're the kind of person that likes to tweak things to their own playstyle, then you love our gamepad mapper and flashing software. It's a fully featured cross-platform suite of software. We'll provide more information in a separate video.
When we designed the Mini Console Plus, we had three distinct user types in mind. So this case version is more for a plug-and-play kind of person. If you just want to take it out of the box and go ahead and use it right away without doing any configuration, have something like this sitting on your desk or your coffee table as you're gaming, this is for you. We also have the idea of a person who likes to tinker. So if you want to take this and plug it into your Mac, PC, or soon Linux box, you can actually reconfigure all the controls, reprogram it, update it, add new features through a simple UI. So if you get sick of resetting all your inputs in your emulator or in your game on your gaming system, you can just reconfigure it on the hardware once, flash it, and call it done and not have to mess around with it. So that's also another feature that we really like and hope folks will use. But we also have a third user type, which is the maker, and I'm definitely a maker myself. So if I went ahead and bought this one in the case, I can actually unscrew the end, which I've done already, and I can pull it out, and this is actually the exact same board. This is a prototype with some through-hole resistors that I'm messing around with, but this is the same board that'll be inside the case, also has mounting holes and can be put inside of a project like your arcade cabinet or fight stick or whatever else you may come up with. So in that case, you may want to use the expansion port. And John's going to go through the LCD expansion port in another video, and that's pretty cool. That's used for debugging and whatever else anybody else can come up with, since all the software and hardware is open source. Maybe somebody can come up with something cooler than we've come up with. What I want to show you today is one of the ways that we get arcade controls in. So this is a prototype of the arcade expansion board, fully functional, ready to go. So what this allows you to do is wire in your arcade buttons and switches, and then you mount your Mini Console Plus inside of your project in your cabinet, and then you just go ahead and connect this expansion board. And what this allows you to do is have simultaneous input from your classic console controllers. You can use them at the same time as you're using the input from arcades. So I'm going to show a couple projects that we've done with these, and we're really excited about this. This is a really cool functionality. I'm also going to show a second way that you can wire this. If you want to leave the Mini Console Plus in the case, there's another way that you can hook up arcade controls without taking it out of the case. So trying to keep it really flexible, trying to make sure that you can make this device meet your needs. You can really tweak it as much as you need to, or you can just leave it as it is and play with it. The roots of this project started about 5 years ago when Bruno decided he wanted to use the original Sega controller to play Streets of Rage on an emulator on his Wii. He started making open source hardware to be able to connect console controllers to a bunch of different devices, but they were each an individual piece of hardware. This one is one of his creations that outputs to USB. He made one for Wii, he made one for PlayStation, he made a bunch of different kinds of interfaces for this device. We came together and did our first Kickstarter, and this is one of the limited edition mini arcades. So this connects arcade controls to the original Xbox and a whole bunch of different USB devices, and also can be wired to a PlayStation. So as these all evolved, we kept having more inputs, more outputs, and we found that the kinds of games that we'd like to play, we'd like to use the original controllers on emulators. We'd even like to use the older classic controllers sometimes on new modern hardware.